Hi, another frequently asked question I get is how do I become happy? How do I become happier? And so the question is kind of complicated because sometimes when people are dealing with depression, it's not just a simple choice to be happy. Sometimes it's an actual chemical imbalance that's going on that only a chemical can solve, like medication. But I certainly work with people whether or not they want to be on medication to try and change their mindset to try and be happier. So the information I'm about to give is for people who aren't really dealing with severe depression. And even if you're dealing with severe depression, you could try these things, but they may not be as successful. And it doesn't have to do with your willpower, just simply has to do with what's going on in your body. So, in terms of changing your perspective, I'm going to give an example that I give a lot, which is an example of me personally before I learned this technique myself. And so I used to get really frustrated. Imagine being on the 405 freeway and you're about to get on the 110 or another interchange, 101, whatever, and you've been there for a half hour waiting to get into your new freeway, and some guy just pulls on the side and in about 20 seconds does what you've been waiting to do for a half hour. You know, your time is valuable, you're frustrated, and that person just cuts you off. And that experience can be really frustrating, and it was certainly for me. That's something that I am constantly having to work on. And so what I realized is that 3 hours, 4 hours later, I was still really upset about the person. I was telling different people about this jerk that cut me off on the freeway and all of this stuff and what it must mean about them. And so I realized it was just ruining my day. And then as I went to my master's program to be a therapist, I learned about how changing your mindset can actually improve your entire day. So now if something like that were to happen, instead of automatically thinking that this guy is a jerk, which he might be or she might be, I have to ask myself, is it true and is it helpful? So it may very well be true that he's a jerk and that he thinks that his time is more important than my time and that he's better than everybody else and that's why he gets to cut ahead. But that thought isn't really helpful. So another thought that is equally as true is maybe his wife's in labor. Maybe his mom or dad is in the hospital and he has an emergency and he's trying to get ahead. Who knows? But having that mindset is equally as true, but it's also helpful. And so what I find is that instead of tailgating the guy, I just let him have his space. And I realize that I'm not allowing him to give me all his negative energy. And so I'm able to go on throughout the day and have positive energy and be happy because I changed my mindset about what that incident meant to me. And so I would encourage you in your life to think to yourself, is it true? And is it helpful? And if it's neither of those things, you know, we get caught up a lot on it's true. You know, and it very well might be true, but is there another thought that could be equally as true that would be more helpful? And those are the types of things that people who tend to be happier think. They don't end up going through the entire day really upset because somebody on the freeway cut them off. And I will tell you that probably that person on the freeway isn't thinking about you 20 minutes later, but you're thinking about them. And so I want you to just think about on the freeway or wherever you're at, not allowing that other person's negative energy to come into you. So they're going to cut you off regardless, right? So you are in the same predicament no matter what. They're in the same predicament no matter what. Your negative thinking isn't going to help the situation at all. And so to try and use that mentality in different areas of your life. And if you're having difficulty, by all means, give me a call, come in, set up an appointment. But I hope this helps.